Learning Objective 2. Develop a cutting-edge definition of independent reading. What is independent reading? Today's independent reading in the classroom should occur daily, include student accountability, connect to regular class lessons, include student choice, be joyful and highly engaging.
What we're going to do today is we're going to continue reading independently to increase our stamina, right, to make us better and more powerful readers. We are, while we're doing that, I'm going to actually pull some, probably only one, but maybe I'll be able to get to 2 reading groups today. So if I come over and I just tap you and I ask you to come join me at the back table, just put your materials away and meet me at the back table, okay? And then when we're finished, you can get your materials back if there's still time at the end. All right? So here's what I would like to do now. If you sit at the yellow table and the pink table, you may quietly get your reading materials and find a comfortable reading place.
You always get a pillow. The pillows are comfortable.
Now let's move into our second learning objective. Independent reading should take a ritual quality in the classroom. It's a daily expectation and part of the routine of the room, so that all members of the community learn to expect it and become familiar with their roles and responsibilities. The books that are read and the work that is done with the independent reading block will change day to day, but the act of sitting down to read without going off task is a daily expectation. So how do we communicate those expectations? Students need to be held accountable to the expectations of daily independent reading. First and foremost, they should be expected to maintain the behaviors of independent reading. This includes things like the time of day independent reading occurs, where to sit, and when talking is allowed and at what level of voice is acceptable. Secondly, students should be held accountable to specific work as part of the practice of independent reading. This could mean anything from practicing fluency, noticing sensory details, observing dialogue, or comparing stories. Accountability can be communicated through behavioral expectations, conferences, written and oral responses to text, and exit tickets. During independent reading each day, the reader is regularly accountable for sharing her findings, conclusions, and self-assessment from the reading. The classroom culture celebrates reading as essential, exciting, and joyful. The teacher actively participates by conferring, coaching, and calling small groups. Practice and purpose. The purposeful part of practice is twofold. One is that the child sees a relationship between the lesson and the practice. The second is that the child sees a purpose in the reading. Text complexity involves attention to a reader and task. Why is the reader reading this text? The child must have a sense of what that question means to her. She might be reading to evoke a strong feeling, or she might be reading to learn how to play soccer. There are many purposes for reading. The main thing we can do during independent reading time is value purposeful reading that comes from within the child, to celebrate and affirm it. The work you expect students to practice during independent reading should be connected to the current classroom lessons. For example, if your class is in a unit of study on character development, independent reading becomes a rich opportunity for your students to practice the skills you have modeled for analyzing characters in stories. No matter the book being read or the characters being observed, students can still engage in this work. The bulk of the reading material used during independent reading time should be text that is chosen by students. This places each child in the driver's seat and empowers them to know themselves as readers, their abilities and preferences, and how those can be complemented by literature available to them. Routines can be established for interacting with the classroom library or bringing books from home. Honor students' preferences by talking genuinely with them about their book choices, and allow choice to ribbon throughout all your interactions with books. Modeled choice is key. The child is offered abundant access and books that represent interest, author preference, and levels. But in order for a child to choose well, we need to model those choosing behaviors. A weekly and regular time for us to accompany children to the classroom library and help them fill their book boxes is crucial. A teacher can also bring in the books that he or she loves the most in order to model using these pieces for independent reading. That should be part of how we are conferring with our students. During independent reading, the reader usually chooses her own reading material with guidance, and the text matches the reader's level, academic needs, or interests. There may be times where a book is above a student's reading level, but it would be of high interest, or below a student's level to provide practice with fluency. The idea is for students to be immersed in a reading community, working on their level of engagement and reading skills authentically. A book does not always have to be on a child's reading level for it to be appropriate and an excellent independent reading choice. Independent reading should be engaging for students, families, and teachers. Students choose and read texts that spark their imaginations, sharpen their literacy skills, and deepen their knowledge. Reading is joyful and fun and is designed to hook young readers into the rewarding world of literacy. Independent reading should be engaging for students, families, and teachers. Students choose and read texts that spark their imaginations, sharpen their literacy skills, and deepen their knowledge. Reading is joyful and fun and is designed to hook young readers into the rewarding world of literacy. One thing that we love about this definition is how it honors quality literacy instruction. Independent reading is an essential part of daily quality literacy instruction in any ELA curriculum. It provides practice and holds readers accountable to important lessons and skills, and it promotes engagement by giving students guidance and choice. Implementing independent reading in your classroom in a way that promotes student achievement and gives students access to a variety of texts creates real readers beyond the classroom. Goal setting. What is your cutting-edge definition of independent reading? Independent reading should be daily, accountable, connected, choice-based, and engaging. Recall that the goal is for your newest version of independent reading to include these 5 descriptors. Is your independent reading practice happening daily? Are your students held accountable to the classroom expectations and work? Is the work they do connected to a daily lesson or skill? Are your students working with books they have chosen? Are they engaged in their work? Take a moment here to articulate a working definition of independent reading in your participant guide. Try to use as many of these descriptors in your definition as possible.